Okay, so I've just finished making a video about the importance of posture and why not to collapse the lower back. But there's another little tidbit that I want to do, and I'm going to do it as a standalone video, right? Now, what this is about is the technique where people scrape the handle across the legs, right? So you might have seen this offered up sometimes as a way to kind of fix your strokes. So what they say is you stroke and then you lower the handle down, scrape it across your legs, and then you lower the handle down, scrape it across your legs, okay? What that's trying to fix is people who row with the knees up and then throw the handle over the top, okay? So there's no way you can scrape the handle low down your knees if your knees are up, okay? So that's the point of it, is it kind of forces you to do it. And yes, it's a good way to fix that issue, but once that issue's fixed, you need to stop doing it, right? Now, caveat number one. If you're an on-the-water rower, there is an element of the tap down that needs to be done in order to get the oar out of the water. Then you get to the front and then you put it back in again. But I'm assuming that if you're an on-the-water rower, you have a good technique anyway, and you're not needing to do things like fix a bend in your knees. What my concern is for this technique is that it destroys posture. Now, I'm so into the idea of posture being what you need to have, even though mine's terrible, in order to get your stroke rate up, the power up, to try and be injury free and things. Posture is so important. Now here's what I think is the danger. All right, so I'll take a couple of strokes just normally and then I'll talk you through it. Right, so if I was to scrape the handle this time, what happens is suddenly as I'm scraping, everything's coming forwards and I'm rolling down in order to do this scrape across my legs. So I come back, scrape, and it's just promoting this kind of, my head's looking down and everything as I do that scrape. And that's not what we want. We want to be coming out and then looking forward at the monitor, head looking straight forward, nice. So you can scrape and keep that going, but if you're new to doing this, the chances are you're too busy thinking about, am I scraping across my legs, that this is what's happening, okay? And we don't want that, because suddenly you're all rounded, curled down at the front. Yes, you fixed your knee issue, but it's kind of, you're collapsing your posture and it's all going through your lower back. Problem number two is this, is that when you get to the front again, so you scrape, then as you lift, everything launches backwards. And the head goes up because the handle comes up. The back goes back. Sequencing's completely out. Posture's all over the place. Neck hurts, power's gone. Suddenly you're driving in that backwards position. And as you drive with your legs here, all the force is going through your lower back. Your neck's going everywhere because you're looking up. You've got no idea because you're not looking at the monitor. Obviously, I'm over-exaggerating here, okay? Chances are what's going to happen is this. Okay? That you end up crunched into a ball at the front because of that roll down in the scrape. And then before your legs connect, you're in this position. So not only have you lost a whole bunch of drive space of the legs, you've also lost, because remember the power that you can get in the machine just from your back, okay? That backswing adds enough power that you don't want to waste it. So if you're coming to the front and you've shot it, you've not even put in that power from your back, and then your leg drive happens, because you're like this, you're losing what some would say 20 or 30% of your stroke power, right? So again, if you're scraping, you go scrape, oh, scrape. So you're in a rounded turtle position as it is. You've lost your back power. Everything's crumpled. Your hips are tucked backwards, your tailbone's underneath. That's the potential for what can go wrong with that technique. I'm not saying it's going to happen to everyone. I'm saying this is why the moment you've fixed that knee issue, you should try to not think about it. What I would prefer, unless, again, we're going to go back to that caveat, unless you're practicing for on-the-water stuff, what I would prefer, in order to give you that kind of sense, is to think that you are rowing under and over a tabletop, okay? So it's only going to be about that thick. You're only going, it's like a really shallow, small it's not a circle, what's the, however the, I was about to say oblong, but that's not right. Oval, it's like a very long oval. So you're just kind of coming, you've got a little bit of an under, then a tiny bit of a rise into the chest, a little bit of an under, rise. So if you want to get that sensation of up and down, just think about coming under a table, over the top of a table, under, over. And just make sure that as you do the over, your back doesn't lean back. I think, well, in fact, I've got a mirror in front of me, so I'll quickly row. I think what I do is pretty much straight forwards and straight back. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. You can see there's a piece of red tape on my machine here, and the chain tends to stay in line with that when I row. And that's because I'm so worried about that lift of the handle when I come up, breaking my back, as in the backswing, that I'd much rather just go forwards and backwards so that I can hold that forward lean for as long as possible without losing that potential power. So, I repeat, I'm not saying that the guys and girls, coaches that say that the tap down, scrape across the leg is wrong. Yes, it will fix the knees popping up, and yes, for on the water rowing, the tap down is important. But what I'm saying is that be careful, don't get so used to it that what it ends up doing is actually crumpling you up into a little turtle at the front and then opening yourself up way too quick before you've taken the drive with your legs, okay? Because you really need to get to the front and get that power in, hold that forward lean, then you swing your back, then you get your arms in, then you push, then you rock, and then you're in. It's really simple stroke rowing, but it's so hard to get it right. And like I said in so many of my videos, my stroke is maybe 50% good. I'm saying I'm nowhere near. I'm very much a do as I say, not as I do kind of guy. But what I'd like to do with these videos is point out the pitfalls of some of the advice that's out there, some of the things that you can kind of get wrong if you're just following blindly and you don't know what it is you're trying to fix. So yes, scraping the handle, down your knees, down your legs, or whatever is a solution to a problem, but is also a potential cause of further problems. Okay, right, let's all be cool and live together and share our advice, but then let's also be a little bit careful about how closely we follow it. It's to be said for most of my advice as well, to be honest. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you're enjoying my splurges on videos like this rather than all being just the RowAlong workouts. I've got well over 200 workouts right now on the RowAlong YouTube channel, and there's plans, there's standalone workouts, there's workouts that have pace guides for everybody, there's ones that just have single pace guides. Just go and check out and take a look through the library and all that jazz. And remember, I talk away to you through the entire session. We row it together. That's why it's called RowAlong. I row it just as hard as you, if not harder, actually, because I have to talk all the way through it. But yeah, and I just talk away to you. I give you tips about technique and motivation, and talk sometimes about what I'm having for dinner and the kids, just really to keep you entertained and motivated to get you through what is sometimes a pretty tough session, or if it's a 30 minutes or 20 strokes a minute, it can sometimes be a bit of a dull session, so maybe listening to me and whatever just gets you through it. And if you put up with my particular shtick and find me amusing and entertaining, then hopefully we'll have a good time together. Hopefully. Anyway, thank you so much for checking out this video. I will see you in a future one. Stay safe, be well. Bye bye.